Matt, the Mortgage Guy, Mortgage Mondays, episode 42, where I'm talking overtime and bonus income. Matt, the Mortgage Guy, Mortgage Mondays, episode 42. I'm talking about overtime, bonus income, and things of that nature. I work with buyers all the time that get paid in a variety of different ways, so these questions come up quite often. First off, I'll address overtime income. You may work for UPS, and they're working you 80 hours a week during the holidays, so you're getting a lot of overtime income. What an underwriter is going to do to determine whether or not you can use that overtime income in your calculations, debt versus income calculations, they are going to look at a history. And so if you've received it in the past, that's a good indication you're going to receive it in the future. And you might have a pay stub that shows year to date through 10 months, you've got $5,000 worth of overtime pay. Now, when they send the verification of employment to your employer, they're going to fill out what happened in 2013, 2014. They're going to show your base pay, your overtime, bonuses, anything of that nature. If things align, and in 2013 you got $6,000 for the year, 2014 you got about $6,000 for the year, and now in 15 you've got $5,000 through 10 months, that's a pretty good indicator that you've received it in the past and you'll likely receive it in the future. For somebody like a UPS driver who gets a lot of overtime during certain months, that's something that is probable to continue. So that's overtime income. If you've received it, they're going to look at a 2-year history and they're going to average the overtime over 2 years, and that's how they're going to get to your number that they're going to give you in income when doing this calculation. Very similar for bonus income. You get a big bonus every year at the financial firm you work at. It's based on performance. You hit certain goals. You've done that in 13 and 14. It shows on your year-to-date for 15. They're going to use the average of the last 2 years when they're determining your income. And I work with folks that get tip income. They work in the service industry. They're a bartender or something of that nature. They're a server. And it's the same thing. They're going to look at what your year-to-date says this year. They're going to look at the verification of employment from your employer who's going to fill this out. Here's your base or your hourly pay. Here's your tip income. Here's your bonus income. All that stuff is going to be pretty black and white for an underwriter to say, okay, they've received it for the past 2 years. We feel comfortable they're going to receive it in the future. So that's how that works. Commissions actually work fairly similar as well, where underwriters are simply going to say, okay, through 10 months, this person's made $100,000. And if they work on 100% commission, they're going to want to see something that aligns with that for 13 and 14 on those W-2s. So if they made 110 and 13, they made 118 and 14, and they've made 100 year to date through 10 months and 15, they'll take a 2-year average when determining your monthly income. But what they're not going to like to see is that you made 110, 118, and then year to date is 60, 2015. That means things are declining, and that's a bad sign. If things are on the uptick and things are on the upswing, that's great. They'll use a 2-year average. So if you made 60 last year and you made 140 year to date this year, don't think that you can qualify and use that monthly income based on this year's year to date. It's going to be a 2-year average. So any questions to clarify, I'm happy to answer. That's a little bit about bonus income, overtime income, tip income, commission income, but I'm happy to go more in depth. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Matt, the Mortgage Guy, Mortgage Mondays.
Call Matt, the Mortgage Guy. When you're ready to apply, call Matt, the Mortgage Guy, or visit mattthemortgageguy.com. Visit mattthemortgageguy.com.